Hey everybody, it's Libby Webb with LibbyWebb.com. I'm so glad that you've taken time out of your day to join us. I'm here with my really good friend, Nick Unsworth. Hey Nick, how are you doing today?
I am doing good. A little under the weather, but overall, I'm still doing really, really well, and I'm really fired up to be here. So,
Awesome. I know, isn't it this time of year when that temperature fluctuations up and down, we get those colds coming on?
in San Diego, I mean, it fluctuated from like 79 last week to like 68.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Yeah,
But it
we
still
have
got
some.
me.
Yeah, and we have something similar going on here in my area in Huntsville, Alabama. We go from having 50-degree weather down to the teens. So we're
Oh,
in extreme cold right now, which we don't normally get this kind of cold weather for this many days in a row. So I'm really looking forward to the spring myself. I'm ready
yeah, I
for
bet.
some sunshine and warm weather. So
That's
all
it.
right, folks. Well, I want to take just a couple minutes here to welcome you again. I'm so glad that you've taken time out of your day to join me here. This is the 10th episode of my show that I called Live with Libby. I really look forward to this every week because it's just one of the really fun things that I get to do as a part of my week in terms of bringing really good information, whether it be a person or a tool or a resource that I use in my local business to help me grow. And today I have my really good friend Nick, who is my business coach actually. He's a good friend of mine. I met him a few years back, and I'll be telling you a little bit more about that here in just a few minutes in terms of how I met Nick and what we're doing together today. So I want to give you a couple quick tips on how we are going to use the 22 social platform that I'm using here to host my Hangout. If you'll notice, there will be a little bit of a delay between what Nick and I say and when you may hear it. So if you post a question, we'll be back and forth looking in the comment box, monitoring what you guys are saying. But just know we might not see it just right away, but we'll be monitoring those comments throughout our conversation today. Right down below the video, matter of fact, if you scroll all the way down below the video, you're going to see that comment box below where you can write your comments in. So one of the first things I'd love for you guys to do, if you'll just pop in a comment for me real quickly and tell me where you're joining us from today. It's always fun to look back at these comments after the Hangout's over and see just from all over the world. I had somebody from Africa last week join us, which was really cool. I had somebody from the UK, and then from all over the United States. So it's really fun for me to actually see where you guys are calling from or joining this Hangout. I get my words right here. Joining in from. So let's see. One other quick thing. If you will, when you get ready to write your comments, there is a little box right at the top, and I'm going to just show you guys this real quick. I talk about this every week, and then I'm like, it'd probably just be easier if I screen shared and show this to you. I'm going to show this to you just real fast and start screen share. Just if you look right down below here in the comment stream, you'll see there's a little box here that says auto refresh. If you will uncheck that box and click add comment and then type in here what you would like to say, and we'll just say, hey guys, we're live now. Are you on? If so, where from? Tell me. Okay. So I'm going to add that to post that right over to Facebook, and I'm going to hit comment. So now you can come back up here and you can actually recheck that box. There you go. Whoops, I clicked it twice. And then it'll auto refresh for you. If you leave this box checked and you add in your comment, and maybe you have like 2 or 3 or 4 sentences you want to put, if you don't uncheck that box, what's going to happen is it'll refresh for you. It refreshes about every 30, 40 seconds, and you'll lose your comment that you were in the process of typing in. I've lost mine a handful of times. It's a little aggravating, so I wanted to share that with you, a little tip about using the comment widget right here below the Hangout. Okay, so as you can see, I'm going to have this scroll down here, and I'm going to see your comments as you post them. So if you guys will let us know where you're dialing it or joining from today, that would be really helpful. All right, let's see. Let me get back over here just real fast to my notes and just be sure that I have told you guys everything I wanted to tell you. And then we're going to jump in and get started with Mr. Nick. So just real fast, I want to tell you guys a little bit about me. Again, my name's Libby Webb. My website's LibbyWebb.com, and it's a brand new website. I've only had it up a few months, and one of the things that I've been trying to do is share different things that I've been learning over the last several years. I've spent 25 years in the manufacturing sector, actually, and the last 8 years of that was in the IT, information technology, working a lot with our business plants, helping them move systems, information, that kind of thing. But for me, the entrepreneurial bug bit me at a very young age. I've always wanted to own my own business. I've always kind of had something going on the side besides just working for someone else. And in 2008, my husband and I actually had the opportunity to buy a little barbecue joint here in North Alabama where I live. And so now we've had it. In June will be 6 years, and it's just been a whole lot of fun. It's amazing what you get to do when you own your own place, and it's not a franchise, it's yours. You get freedom of, how you want to even market your business, how you want to, choose what food items you sell, all the way through. So we've just really had a lot of fun, and I've spent the last probably 4 years learning everything I could around social media to help us grow our little business, because we're out in the county. We're not in the Huntsville mainstream area, so it takes a little bit of everything. And this is actually where I met Nick about 3 years ago, I think it was. He put out this new fan review application that I use on my barbecue business page, and I'm also now using this on my personally branded fan page. And it's really just tremendously helped our business grow. It's allowed us to use our customers' word in terms of them making recommendations for us to get the word out about our restaurant. And in turn, I'm doing the same thing here on my fan page. So I'm not running ads currently on this fan page. I'm strictly just running my show here every week and using the fan review app. And my page is growing very quickly just using those two strategies at this time. And it's more of a test because I really want to show people you can, if you work these types of strategies, just get your business growing if you just get started doing a little bit of work. So, and then in this past year, I actually have ventured out thinking I've just had so many people asking me for help that I've just decided that I was going to start moving in this direction for my future. So with Nick's help, I've joined his coaching program called Life on Fire, and I'm one of his fire starter coaching clients. And Nick has just been a tremendous help to me in helping me kind of figure out really where I need to focus my energies in terms of what's important and the types of people that I can help. And I'm really focused at this point on helping people like myself with a business as a restaurant owner, getting web shows started, just getting our brand out there and start talking. So we're getting ready to launch actually in our restaurant a new show here in the next couple of weeks. We'll have that set and ready to go, where we're going to actually start sharing our story and how we came to buy New Market Barbecue and how we're having fun every week and with our customers and bring customers on. There's just lots of fun things that we're going to get to do with that. So with that said, I want to switch gears here and get Nick on the line and let him do a little bit of an introduction for himself and tell you guys a little bit about him and jump into our topics today. And if in fact we have time, but we're going to keep this tight to an hour today because Nick's a busy guy and got a lot going on. But if we have time at towards the end of this, if you have a headset and a camera, and if you are stuck in your business and you're needing some help kind of getting unstuck and figuring out what direction to move forward in, Nick does these awesome hot seats with people to kind of pick your brain and kind of see where you're stuck and help you move forward. So I would love to be able to do that for someone today. If you're interested in doing that, post a comment in the comment box below and let me know, and I will chat over with you the link of how to get on. As long as you have a headset and a camera, we'll get on. You'll be able to join us today. So if we have time, no promises. All right, Nick, so I'm going to throw this back to you. And so just let me pop over here real fast. I'm going to leave you on the screen while I look to the side here and look at our notes real fast. So one of the things that we had at the top here was, how to become a master communicator and influencer. And this is something coming out of your San Diego event that I really uncovered about myself, was the fact that I realized I had power of influence, and I really didn't even realize I had it. For me personally, this is just a gift for me to be able to get on and do a hangout like this and share my knowledge and information with people along the way as I'm building out my business. And when you sent this out last week that you were going to be talking about this coming up, I was like, man, this is exactly the topic that I think a lot of people need to hear, because there's so much potential within us that we don't even see. And if we don't get it out there to the world, I mean, I personally have a very deep-seated belief and in terms of responsibility that we are required to do this, so in terms of sharing what our message is with the world. So I just love that this is what we're going to be chatting about today. So I'm going to toss it to you and let you get started, and then we'll work back and forth here.
All right. Well, perfect. Well, thank you for the opportunity to be here today, and I just want to say hello and welcome to everyone that's having a look. And if you're catching the replay, hello, hello.
Yep.
So basically, I'm just going to give a quick, minute on my background, but
Yeah, absolutely.
I've been an entrepreneur for pretty much my whole life. So I grew up in a situation where I never wanted to work for someone else because I saw all around me that families were destroyed because of work. I
Mm-hmm.
saw that families didn't have enough money, and that created tensions, and tensions, financial tensions created divorces and all these things. And I just was always set out on a mission to grow up and make a good living so that I could provide for myself and provide for my family. That I don't have any kids yet, but I want to at some point. But, but it was just sad to me that people would go through life and hate what they do for work. And we spend so much of our entire lives working. And so I think my stance, right, my background, my stance, and what I stand for is I just don't want, like, it pains me to have people that hate what they do for work, or maybe they're just going through the motions and they're comfortable, but it's really not their passion or their gift. So I've just been on a mission my whole life to just find what it is that I'm passionate about and to find my purpose and to find what that is. So the crazy thing is that led me to network marketing, that led me to real estate, it led me to internet marketing, and sometimes you just have to fail forward fast in a good way,
Absolutely.
and
Yeah.
sometimes you just have to turn over enough stones until you find exactly what it is that you're meant here to do. But before I get into like the content about communication and how to motivate yourself, the biggest linchpin is that until you find and until you're doing what your God-given talent is or what your purpose is, then you're kind of just going through the motions. And sometimes a lot of it has to do with money. It's air security. You're at your job, or you're working for someone else, or you're not following your dreams because you want to be safe, you want to be secure, you don't want to take the financial risks. But the crazy thing is that life will go by, and the last thing you want to do is look back and wonder why you never took that step and you never took that risk to really live a full out life. And it's crazy that when you study, entrepreneurs and you study happiness, a lot of that comes back to fulfillment. And fulfillment is all tied to, doing, like, it could be helping others, but it's really about doing what you're passionate about and what you feel that your purpose is. So I think part of what I do for my work as a business coach is, yeah, it's full blown, business coaching. We could do a hot seat and in 30 minutes help someone figure out what their stance is, figure out what their strategy is, and help them market their mission or their message. But the other piece is that, you have to have, you've got to have purpose. And if you're building without purpose, then you're pretty much just going through the motions, and it's not going to ever be as effective. And any time in business you're feeling like you're pushing a rock up a hill, and you're working, 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 and you're chasing your tail, and it's so hard, there's a couple things that can be in your way. One, it could be, the fact that you're just doing the wrong thing. Sometimes I'll start coaching with someone and I'll realize that, I'll help them realize that, if it's this hard and it's this stressful for you, then it's very possible that you're actually doing the wrong thing. Because when you're doing what's in alignment for you and what you're good at, every human being has something that they're good at. So when you're doing what you're good at, you're in what's just called alignment, and everything can be easy. So it's like, focus on what you're good at, focus on what is easy for you, and typically the money will follow. Now, and there's an expression that's like, when your why is big enough, the how will always come to you. And I was at this really, interesting personal development like retreat this weekend, and there's this guy Eli, and he was talking about, he was homeless. His wife had a really bad illness, and she was like, a borderline about to die from the illness. And the illness it made them homeless because, they lost everything from it, and they ran out of money, and they literally were homeless. They're living behind in Albertsons because they had the best samples to go get the samples. And it was, just a crazy, crazy scenario. And she was asking him to kill her on a daily basis because she couldn't take the pain and she couldn't take living that way, where they were normal people. I mean, they came from like a
Yeah.
corporate background and all that. And this guy, the one thing that he kept was his laptop. They sold everything else. He only had his laptop. And what's crazy about it is that if you can imagine it, his why was so freaking big, right? His
Yeah.
why was
Yeah.
not only to make money to like live a normal life, but his why was to make money to get his wife treatment so that she would live. And so his why was so big that the how came to, right? The how found a way. And so this guy went on to build, to make money online. He built a business. He ended up getting her the treatment that she needed and ended up literally becoming financially free. And he did it within 12 months. And so the
Wow.
purpose of that story is just that, when you've got a big enough why, like you'll get this stuff done and you'll find what you're passionate
Mhm.
about. So I always think about it in three things. One is, what's your story?
Yeah.
So thinking about, with Libby, your story as, having a background, running your restaurant, crushing it with social media marketing, all that rolls into, it's what you're good at. I mean, you've done so many amazing things with the restaurant, and then it comes down to, so what do you stand for? What is your stance just in life? And mine that I'm passionate about is, I just hate, I want to help people love what they do every day, because that's, life is too short not to, right? So that's my
Yeah.
stance. And if your stance
Absolutely.
is to help a local business be successful so that they're not just challenged and in pain every day, then that could be your stance, right?
Right.
So it's for everyone, it's, what's your story, what's your stance? And then very important is that, there's a lot of people that will be clear on what they want to do and be clear on their passion, but if they don't know how to market it and they don't have a strategy, then they're dead in the water. So you
Right.
you have to have all three. And
Yeah.
that's part of what we do at Life on Fire is we help every entrepreneur build a business, and we find that when you're building a business, if you can tie it back to helping people, and you can tie it back to some way, shape, or form into charity, that it becomes bigger than you, and
Mm.
that's where a lot of the purpose can come into. So, you know, with Life on Fire, we're doing things like, putting on a big event, training entrepreneurs, and then a percentage of that's going to go to charity. So the cool thing is, it's bigger than us. It's not just
Mm.
about making money and then the money comes in and then it goes. It's about, we're helping other people, but while all along the way we're raising money. So that's one of those things where, when you think about how you're communicating with yourself or how you're communicating in general, it comes down to, what's motivating you, what's getting you out of bed. And in my case, quite frankly, I woke up today pretty freaking sick, and for a minute I was thinking, it actually went through my mind. It was like, I feel really crappy on the inside, and I was
Yeah.
like, maybe I should just cancel all of my calls today, right? I don't
Yeah.
know where they would all go.
Yeah.
But I was thinking, like, how I want to be able to give my best to people, and then I realized that it's not about me. Like, there's things that are going to happen today that are going to help people. I've got a lot of coaching calls. We're doing this thing here today, and this is a bigger mission than just me. It's not just about making money or anything. So this gets me out of bed, and that's what we want for everyone, is to wake up and spring out of bed and live that life on fire. So purpose is super, super important. So
It absolutely is, and I'll just tell you, I've been on a mission myself since probably, I'm gonna say 2009, when I changed jobs. I had a job with my first company here in Huntsville for 18 years, and I moved to a different company, and within a very short 6 months, I was miserable. And it was a great job, making the most money I've ever made in my life, and you know, should have been completely happy, but the lifestyle that it created, and the fact we had just bought
mhm,
this restaurant, and I quickly realized then that it's not about the money. And I didn't necessarily take it for the money, but that was a big enticement, of course.
mhm,
But, you know, I really started on a mission myself then in 2009 timeframe about trying to find my why and what my passions really were, because people say that, you know, and they ask those questions, and well, what are you passionate about? And I just was listening to a hangout that Mia Davies had a few weeks back on 22 Social, and she said the same thing. You know, it's like, it's always just like right there in front of you, and you can't even see it. It's so obvious that what it is that you're deep-seated passionate about, you do it every day, and you don't even know it. And I'm proof in that myself, because this all happened for me at your event, you know, and being exposed to the people that I was exposed to kind of helped me peel back the layer in my mind that I was really missing what was obviously and standing right in front of me, that all my life I have been a passionate person about anything and everything I do. I deeply care about people. I deeply care that they care about what they do and how they impact the world, and just the fact that I challenge people. It's like in my nature to challenge people to be bigger and better than what they are. And here I've been playing small all my life. So it's like,
Hmm.
I'm just grateful that everything happens for a reason. I think everything happens in God's time, and this being uncovered at this moment in time in my life, I now have the experience and the knowledge and the professionalism, I think, in my career to actually be able to move forward and impact people in a way that's going to be very meaningful for me and them, which in the end feeds me. So, it's just exciting, and for me, it's all about helping people overcome technology and getting their voice out there and doing web shows like this. No matter if they're a local small business or an online entrepreneur, everybody has a story to tell, and everybody's story can
Hmm.
then feed and help someone else. And as you said, if you make it bigger and not about you, in the end, it becomes easy. So just whatever it
Yeah,
is that you love to do, you know.
that's it. I mean, it for many of us, it's like, we have the big dreams when we're little kids, and then life kind of beats you up, and
Yeah.
we start to forget that we really can do anything we put our minds to. That's one of the most important aspects of being an entrepreneur is the belief that you can do anything you put your mind to, and that kind of segues into communication because
Yeah.
if that muscle for you, for anyone, isn't strong, that's because you're not training it, you're not working it out or flexing it on a regular basis. And sometimes, if you're fear struck and to go towards what it is that would truly make you happy, then sometimes you have to just work on the little things. With communication, it starts with communication on the inside. We all have that little person in our head that's always talking, 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 and
Yes.
it's the thoughts become things. And there's a really cool study about just the impact of words, and there's a few different of these, but um, there's actually a study where they take rice and they put it into three different little cups, and they say like, "Oh, rice, you're so beautiful," and like, "I love you." It's a one cup of rice, right? And the next one they say something like, "Ah, you're pretty cool." I don't know, like it's like medium, it's average. They just say something like, "You're cool." And then there's one that's like they yell at it and they're like, "I hate you," and it sounds really ridiculous, but over the course of a couple months, you can see that in the one that they said "I hate you" to, it's like murky and moldy and rotten.
Wow.
The one that's in the middle is like pretty gross, but well, not even gross, but it's murky. And then the one that they're saying nice things to, it's completely intact and it's not clear, but it's a little bit cloudy, right? But it's completely different. And so there's
Wow.
all kinds of studies that the impact of the language that we use and how the impact it has on water in our nervous system. And we're made of 70% water, so it's like the things we think in our head, thoughts become emotions, and then those emotions become your actions. And so it's kind of interesting where if you've ever um, started to have a bad day, think about why did that even start in the first place, right? So you know how it kind of just spirals where all of a sudden you're like, like you wake up and you're, whether you don't feel right or you look, you stub your toe or like whatever it might be, and it
Right.
starts to spiral out and get worse, but it's always starts with one particular thought, right? And
Mm.
then that thought leads to another negative thought, and then another negative thought. And what's crazy is that when you live your life that way, or if you let those thoughts control you, that controls your income, that controls your
Yeah.
happiness, that controls your relationships around you, and the quality of your life is controlled by what you think in your head. And so what's really freaking cool is that at any moment you can just make the decision to change that. And at any moment you can start to control what you're thinking in your mind. And that's something that doesn't happen. Well, it can happen overnight, but you get better at it as you go.
Yeah.
And the more you
You have to remember.
Yeah, and it all starts with self-awareness, right? So as long as you're aware of what's going on in your body and in your mind, then you can be aware that, like, if you're having a bad day, you can just literally just call like a timeout and just stop and think about it. And like, why am I having a bad day? What was I thinking about? And it's like, it's really not the end of the world. You got a bill in the mail or whatever. But it's to think about whatever that is and then to just stop it right there and then and to cut it off. And so part of the communication, part of the thing is that it starts with the awareness. Think about whatever it is that you're thinking about, and think about, is it really matter? Is it really important? Is it really going to affect your life? And another little exercise is to think about, I call it just your moment on fire. So
Yeah.
there's studies done that if you're smiling, it's really, really hard to be angry or to be unhappy or to be frustrated. And there's exercise done, there's like studies done where they'll put like a pencil in someone's mouth because they're like forced to, the muscles in your
Yeah.
face are forced to smile. And they've done studies to prove and show that like when scanning the brain and things, like different areas of your brain are firing because it basically proving that just by smiling it
You're
triggers.
thinking differently. Yeah.
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 And so there's a couple exercises, and one that Libby may have mentioned leading up to this is just called a moment on fire. And all this is if you think about if you're having a negative thought in your mind, well, wouldn't it be nice to take whatever that negative thought is and just go in, extract it, and just plunk in a positive one, right? And just think of something
Yeah.
that's positive. Now, to do this effectively, you want to think of something that is really impactful for you, and you want it to not only be able to think it, but you want to be able to feel it too. And just to prove how powerful our minds can be, before we even do anything, I want you guys to just think about this for a second. So everyone just close your eyes. So I'm going to close my eyes, and whenever you that are watching this, close your eyes. All right, and just picture it's a very bright summer day. You're at the beach. You can feel the beach sand between your toes, and all of a sudden, Libby comes up to you, and she's got a half of a lime cut in her hand, and she just says, "Open your mouth," and she squeezes the entire lime in your mouth. And what does that taste like, right? So you can open up your eyes, right? But like, you can't
Sour.
help but like pucker, right? You can't help thinking about like the lime juice, right? And it's because it's what you think in your head. It can control what happens in your body and your emotions, and so the whole thing is that. So if we're going to replace a negative thought with a good one, then why don't we do something that is replacing it with something that's freaking amazing? That's awesome. So the moment on fire, all this exercise does is we just want you to figure out what is a time in your life that you felt incredibly, incredibly powerful, confident, um, you know, um, just a moment where you were on top of the world, where you felt proud of yourself. It could be confident, it could be just empowered, but just really where you felt at your best version of yourself, like you just were just on point. You're in the zone. And so what's interesting is that I'm going to share mine just so you can see how deep this can and should go. But basically, you want to think about it all the way to the point where if it doesn't give you goosebumps, it's probably not the right moment, right? Because you want to not only be able to think it, but when you think it, you want it to affect your body in the same way that biting into a lime right now would affect your body, right? Or thinking of biting into a lime. So the way that it works is basically, I'll run through my example. So, I've got a personal development coach who ran through this with me. And he explained it just like I did to you guys. And he said, Nick, by the end of this exercise, are you okay with the fact that this is going to change how you think in your mind, which is going to change how you live your life? And are you okay with being happier more often than not? And I'm like, I think so. Yeah, I'm down, right? And I was like, all right, well, so, stand up. And he said, all right, I want you to tell me a time in your life where you've never felt more empowered, more confident, and just on top of the world. We've just felt so amazing inside and out and just proud of yourself. You've accomplished something amazing. It could be sports related. It could be love. It could be family. It could be something that you've done. What is a time in your life? And I was like, well, I played football in high school, and I really wasn't good at it. And I overcame humongous obstacles because no one ever thought that I would start. I was small. I'm not fast. I can't really catch well, and they made me a center. And so I go on this story, right? So people typically start to tell a story. And he's like, okay, cool. But drill down on that. What's the moment, right? I was like, well, because I was the underdog, I was really proud of myself because I, overcame such huge obstacles to start playing on both sides of football. I was the center, and I was the middle linebacker, and I played special teams. I even got injured, my shoulder, in my back. I tore ligaments, surgery on my hand, and I played through all that, and I still achieved my goal and played on both sides of football. And he's like, all right, well, that's cool, but that's not a moment, Nick. That's like you telling me a story. So what's the moment that will change the way that you stand, the moment that gives you goosebumps? What's the moment that you could think about and instantly go to that place and feel like $1,000,000 and feel so good right then and there? And he said, stand the way you would stand. And so I started like, stand with your shoulders back, right? It's hard to be a confident person when you're like hunched over and you're feeling sad, right? So even if you are depressed or you are sad, it's like stand the way you would stand with your moment on fire, right? Where you were confident or did something. So I kind of stood with my shoulders back. I kind of like squeezed my fists, and I started to describe the moment a little bit further. And I said, well, there was this one, this one game against our town rival, and we won the game, and I got the MVP. And he's like, so what was that like? I'm like, well, it's pretty cool. I mean, for my coach to give me the Great Falcon Award, it was awesome. And he's like, so is that the moment that is like the most impactful where you could think about that and just change your entire physiology? I was like, well, maybe not. And then he's like, so what's an actual physical moment? I was like, okay. And I was like, you know what? Senior year, that same game, the very first time I snapped the football, I could smell the grass. And he's like, put me there. He's like, visualize it. Tell me about it. Stand the way you would stand. And I'm like, I could smell the grass. I'm like, I could hear my buddy Travis chanting, Unsworth, you suck, as he marched around the field. And, my heart was going, a mile a minute, just pumping like crazy. And I snapped the football. And I have this guy who's an all-state defensive tackle on me, and I hit him, I jack him up, and I turn him over, put him on his back, and it was called a pancake block. And I'm on top of him. We went and scored a touchdown, and I yelled in his face that I owned him, right? And it was just like, I can't even tell you, like right now, if you could only see like my arms, like I literally have goosebumps just like even just putting myself there thinking about it because I'm visualizing it, right? So what happens is that from thinking about that, it just took me from like, Nick being a guy that was like, I came on, I was like, I really don't feel good. Could you hear that in me? I was like, well, I don't feel good. I felt like crap. Yeah. And now I'm already like, for the rest of the day, like I'll kick this cold and I'll be fired up. Like if you could rewind this and just even see like my tone or my expression, like I'm starting to become a different person. Probably going to be smiling more, be a little bit more energetic. My hands are going to start going because this moment freaking fires me up, right? So that one thing that I learned, I'm like, and I'm standing there, I got goosebumps, and he's like, so let me ask you, Nick, how many times a day do you think about that? And I'm like, I haven't thought about that since probably senior year in high school when it happened. And he says, and why not? I was like, I don't know. I just never thought to think about it. And he goes, well, wouldn't it make a lot of sense to think about something like that every single day? Why do you spend all this time thinking all these negative thoughts about bills and about finances and about work or stress, or you're worried about shit? What does that do for you? Does it add any value to your life? Well, why don't you think about the things that, empower you like that every single day? And he said, don't stop at just one. Why don't, if you can master this one and do that, then what if you were to get another moment, right? So, like if I need to focus, it's like, boom, I can pull out my focus, thought. If I need to, be a speaker when I walk onto a stage, I can think about when I spoke on the stage with Libby with you there in the audience and how I felt when I stood there and everyone was cheering,
Yeah.
And so the whole point of this is to think about what is your moment on fire and then to think about that every day. So for me, being a little weird that I am, I went and boom, tattooed it on my wrist because I started to live by this and it started to change my days. And so anytime I was aware of a negative thought, I would eliminate it, think about this, and stand the way I would stand, and it would change. And I got to tell you that, we could talk for days about marketing. We could talk for days about, all kinds of just, public speaking or communication. But until you master your own thoughts, everything is a moot point. Right? So it all starts with it being internal. It's kind of like if you're trying to find love but you don't love yourself, it's never going to happen. So I think one of the outcomes for today is, if you guys were to just think about what your moment on fire is and really just visualize it and really write it down, like, take today to actually just to nail it, right? And don't stop until you get the moment where it gives you goosebumps, right? And then to think about it multiple times throughout today, and then have that be a reminder to do that consistently. So that's one way to just create and just shock the system and to just change your mindset at any given time. And the whole thing is that when you're communicating with people, you have to think about what state of mind are you in and what state of mind is the other person in. And so the whole thing is that, like, if in public speaking, sometimes, like, if you look at the audience, and it's so much fun to do this now because you can see their energy and you can see what's going on in the room. And, like, you know, for example, if you come back from a lunch break and everyone's sitting there and they're like, oh, you know, oh, you're like, oh crap, they're kind of tired. Well, they're in this like post-lunch just gluten hangover. So, like, you know, you may have to have them stand up and do a high five or something because you've got to change their state, get them moving, sit back down, get them energized, and then so that you're matching in the state. So all of like communication and influence comes from understanding what state of mind are you in and getting the other person to be in that same state. So like, for example, doing this exercise and have you guys think about a time in your life where you're really empowered, getting to that state of mind is really key before you then go on to do anything else. Like, I would never set goals or do the rest of this presentation until we got to this state of mind, because if you're ever going to set goals or intentions and you're like tired or you're not feeling good, then you're going to set goals that are either going to be sabotage or they're not going to work out. So so that's just a little thing on the moment on fire. So maybe, Libby, if there's any questions about that, or if you want to talk maybe about what your moment on fire is, or...
Yeah, and I struggled with this actually because I couldn't really find anything when I was, and maybe I still haven't worked on it hard enough, but what I found for me that has been recent more than in my past life, like yours was in high school. I worked all the time in high school, so I didn't feel like I got to like play and have fun and stuff. But anyway, for me it was a recent, let's see here, I always forget to blue box myself. I get focused on you on the screen here. But for me, I have a really good friend of mine that wrote a book recently, and I'm going to be actually having him on again next week because, you know, he wrote this book called Finding Your Voice, and it is so impactful for so many people. And so as a gift to him, because he was my career coach a few years ago when I was on this journey trying to figure out what it was that I was supposed to be doing with my life, and he really helped me really understand myself a whole lot better than I ever had before. And if I'd have continued working with him, I'm sure I'd have gotten there a lot faster than I've done, but I really wanted to focus on the restaurants. But anyway, I did a hangout for him and his wife when they launched this book, and throughout this process of producing that hangout for them and interacting with them like I'm doing here with you, and just going through this process and helping them get their voice out there with their new book, and knowing that by doing that it's really helping them help more people, was very powerful for me. I mean, I felt so energized after I got off of that hangout with them. I mean, we actually were in the green room on the hangout for about 45 minutes after, because it was their first hangout experience. They'd never done it before. They got to meet a lot of people throughout that process on the hangout that they'd not met before, that got introduced to them. So it was just really a lot of fun, and it really helped me realize I was kind of in my wheelhouse, and had people actually contacting me that were friends of mine that were watching it afterwards telling me, you are just really doing what you're supposed to be doing here, you know. So I honestly, for me, I mean, I'm getting chills thinking about it right now. Just,
that's
you know,
the test.
That's it. Absolutely. You know, you know, it's like, again, it's just like right there in front of you. For me, I was just doing something because I'm like a doer. I just do. I just act. I just move forward, and without thought that it is for a bigger purpose or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's not like I'm doing it for a reason. I'm just doing. And that's why it was hard for me to see it, you know. So putting it in this perspective for me was really important. You actually asking us to walk through that exercise and look at it from that standpoint, and that's all I could come up with. But for me, it's really important because it's really solidifying for me that I am moving in the right direction with my career path in terms of helping other people. And in so doing, even with our restaurant, it's just really exciting, the thought that, you know, we're going to really hopefully spark some thoughts in people's mind. You know, we didn't have restaurant experience before we started doing what we're doing. We just have, my husband's wanted a restaurant over time, and it's just the way that it's kind of a bucket list item for us, something that we wanted to do, and we're doing it. And if we can do it, anybody can do it. And that's really the whole point for me, is that it's all about stretching and challenging people to think beyond where they are today, and know that if there's some deep-seated desire that you have in your heart, you can have it if you're willing to get out there and do what it takes to do it. And finding these kinds of strategies to actually help you keep your mind at a higher level instead of playing small, you're going to play big and really make a difference in people's life. And I'm just really excited about that. So that's my moment
That's
on
awesome.
fire, Nick. Yeah.
And that's great. I mean, I think overall, I mean, so within that, what's so cool is that there's so many different layers to that. I mean,
Yeah.
it's you stepping into what you're really enjoying doing with these hangouts. It's you basically almost like mentoring your mentor. So there's that, getting the feedback from all the other people on the show, and I mean, there's so many little details that wrap into that one moment for you, which is cool. That's
Right.
why it's empowering. So,
Yeah.
so definitely. So I want to encourage everyone that's listening. If this is the one outcome for today, if you just identified what is that one moment for you, it could be, it could be you did something amazing at work. You got the big sale. It could be anything athletic or sports related, or school related, or family. I mean, it could be having a child, or anything that you may have accomplished in your life.
Yeah.
And I think that I've had a couple people say, well, I'm not really sure. I haven't done anything. And it's like, I think about that, and it's like, anyone that is, every single person has done things in their life that they can be proud of.
Yeah.
No matter who you are, no matter
Absolutely.
how rough your upbringing may be, every person has moments, at least moments, where you're confident or you feel good, right? So definitely just write down what that thing is here for you today, and just think about it every day, and then start to accumulate more and more as you go, as you grow.
Yeah, and actually, we do have a question from excuse me, I about called her name out wrong. Robin, I about called you Melody. Robin. So actually, she asked about, do you use this every day? So I think this would be a good segue to talk about your daily process that you actually go through, Nick, because I loved your video that you shared about this, and I'll actually share that out on my fan page.
Oh, cool.
So these guys can actually see what you do every day, so you can see how you use this concept. So share that.
It's so key. So I mean, like part of I think just part of like having fun with your business or in life is it's just, there was a time for me where I focused on the end destination, just like my goal is to sell a business, and then I sacrificed all of like my 20s just building and building and building and sacrificing times with friends and family and things. And so my whole mission is that every single day to just enjoy and love what you do, right? So, and if we're going to work this much, then let's enjoy the process. And part of a very important way to enjoy the process is, let's get more done in less time. Let's work smarter and have more fun. And so it's like, I would much rather take an 8-hour day and compress it into 5. Or in my case, I'll still do an 8-hour day, but I'm doing like the work of like a small army. You know what I mean? Like, I can get so much done. And when you're in action like that, the motion creates motion. It's like, when you're like, if you think back, like, there's a lot of studies about kids when they're in high school and college. It's like they're going to school, they're playing sports, they're studying at night, and they're so damn efficient because they're always on the go, on the go. And if you've ever had a time in your life where you've almost had too much time, you become insanely inefficient. It's kind of like a restaurant.
True.
A restaurant, when you're slow, that's when restaurants give the lousiest service. And it's like, that's the weirdest thing. Like, why is everything getting screwed up? It's because they're not in the flow, they're not in the zone.
Yeah.
And so when you're busy, you are moving faster and you're on point, you're sharp, you're focused. And so the way I live my work days is, I like to be really on point and stay busy in the days, and keep a tight schedule. And that works for me. Everyone's different, but I like that, so I can just be on point. And people that do, whether it's a hangout like this or do back-to-back interviews, they'll typically do one day and they'll do 8 like in a day, because they get in that flow state. So like, when I shoot a lot of my videos, I do it all on a Thursday, and I bang them all out together, because you build up. So basically, part of that process to really start your day in a really good way, and to ensure that you have a good day every day, is to do what I just call the morning routine, or the morning ritual. So it's very simple, and if you guys were to just take the challenge, I want to challenge every one of you guys. If you were to just trust Libby and myself Do this for 30 days. The impact is crazy. Like, no one will believe that by the end of this process, you're going to notice you've got more happiness in your life. You've got more, just you're attracting more. I mean, it could be relationships, it could be business contacts. Things start getting plunked and dropped into your life that you're like, how the heck did that happen? I get texts, emails, and Facebook messages almost every single day from someone being like, I don't know what the heck you've done to me, but I don't know where this, like, these nice things are coming from, right? I had a friend that, he was watching our Pay It Forward Friday videos, and he's decided to buy a person's food behind him in Dunkin' Donuts in a drive-thru, and it was only $2, and he felt good about it, and he's all excited, and he texts me, and he's, not someone I would think that would normally do that, and then he calls me freaking out like 3 days later, and he's like, dude, I was just at the grocery store, and the manager for Stop and Shop, it's a grocery store on the East Coast, just came up and gave me a $10 gift certificate and said, thanks for, shopping with us. And he's like, that's never happened to me. And he's like, I think it's from the Pay It Forward Friday, right? So good things just start to show up in your life.
Yeah.
And so in the morning, this is a really cool thing. So I think a lot of people suffer with like depression or just negative thoughts in your mind, whatever that may be. You could be completely healthy and happy, and this will still help you to optimize your life and live a better life. But you wake up, and as soon as you get up, I just think of 3 things that I'm grateful for. And so, wake up, grateful for my family, and I might say something, especially my mom, grateful for living on the water in this beautiful, amazing view, and I just love living here, and I'm grateful that I'm healthy. All my limbs freaking work and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
And so I'll start with that. And the power of gratitude is really crazy, because when you could be having a really bad day and you start to think about gratitude, there's all kinds of studies about what gratitude does for you. But the key thing is that when you do it consistently, it builds up and it equates to lots of goodness that will flow back in your life. So simply, say three things out loud or in your head. You're talking that you're into that for like less than a minute. Now, the next thing is what I'd love for you guys to do is to think about and actually read and think about the goals that you have for the month. Now, I'll just talk for a second about what you would do for your goals. So goals, typically as a word, brings up a lot of emotion for people. Usually like, oh, God, goals, goal setting. Like people hate goals because, or even resolutions. People will start and make a goal or resolution and then they don't get them. And then they actually become destructive, because if you set goals and don't get them for, a couple months or a couple of years, then you're like, screw that, right? So, but the nice thing is that you can reframe all that. And so what I want to encourage you guys to do here today, and which is also really cool, is just choose 3 things that you're going to get done by the end of February. So typically we do our goals every month, but now, since we're at the end of this month, just choose 3 things that you're going to do in February. Now, the cool thing is that I don't want you to pick things that are too big, right? So the reason goals become destructive is because we set goals that are way too big. And so the purpose of this exercise is to prove to yourself that you can do anything you put your mind to, that you can get shit done. So the whole thing is that it's more about actually getting the goals accomplished, because that starts to retrain your own mind about what you're capable of doing. So the purpose is you want to set little goals and then actually achieve them, because when you achieve them, that creates progress, and that little bit of progress it's like that little one snowflake that hits the ground, tumbles into 2, and then into 4, and then to 8, 16. The next thing you know, it starts to snowball that gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And the whole thing for you is that start small, hit the goals, and prove to yourself that you can do what you say and you can do what you put your mind to. Then the nice thing is they get bigger and bigger and bigger, and you can start to push yourself slowly. So setting 3 goals, I would encourage you to make them very simple. So you could say something that could be like, I'm going to go into the gym 5 days a week. Is that a good or bad goal? That's a bad goal, because life happens. We want to give ourselves some flexibility, because you might go on vacation, you might have kids and they get sick and now you're stuck with them, or who knows what. So instead, it's like, I made a goal for January to sign up for a 5K. That's a little race. I don't run, right? So I've been running this month because I signed up for a race. And do you see the difference?
Yeah.
I'm either going to tell myself I have to go to the gym and be like, crap, I don't feel like doing this, and I'm now using my willpower to just force myself to do it, versus I just signed up for a 5K and I'm like, I'm gonna do it. Like I told people I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it.
And I'm going
And
to do what it takes to be ready for
yeah,
it, right?
yeah. And
Yeah.
now, I mean, now that's not a huge race. You can see how that's
Right.
starting small. I mean, I could walk the
Mm-hmm.
thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But now I actually want to like, and I don't run every day. Sometimes I walk and I'll talk on the phone, but every day I'm moving more than a mile, right? So for a guy that works at home and I sit on my butt all day, doing calls, that's a big change, right? So,
Yeah.
and now I want to do it. So that's simple as just signing up for something and I can get that accomplished soon, right? So boom, that
Yeah.
one's checked off, and then so you want to, could be signing up for Toastmasters. If you want to make more money in business often comes down to having more confidence. Confidence equals you charge more. Confidence equals you have more conviction. Confidence equals you communicate better. Confidence equals, you're going to make more money, right? Communication skills. So like signing up for Toastmasters would be a huge, act for anybody. That's actually something that Libby and myself we all are implementing this as just a group because we want to help each other get to the next level, and that's a great way to do it. So, um, so you set your 3 goals, right? So you wake up, you say the 3 things you're grateful for, and you look at your goals and just read them. And you want to have them. I print them out and I put them right next to right where my computer is, so I can just read them easily. The last little thing on the goals is that what makes it more impactful is that once you set them, you want to share them out publicly, because when
Yeah.
you share the goals, it does 2 things. One is it now creates public accountability, so everyone sees it, and now you're like, I actually have to do it now, right?
Yeah.
But the other thing is that for you to put it out publicly means that you have the guts to do that, which means you're actually telling yourself you're going to do it. It's not, as soon as you put it out publicly, it's not one of those goals you're just going to flake on, right? So that's the other aspect to it. So you wake up, 3 things you're grateful for, wake up, look at your goals, and then the next thing is what I would want you to do is to take your goals, and you only have to do this part once, but you write a letter to yourself as if you've already received it,
I
right?
love
So,
this. This is
and
really powerful.
this works so well because it's actually talking to there's some like real kind of nerdy, reasons, but it's about talking to your subconscious, and it's about reframing your own mindset and thinking about what's possible. So when you set the goals, you write a little letter that's like a paragraph or 2, and you write it in a way as if you've already received it. So this letter, is written in a way where, let's just figure if we're setting our goals here today, it would be like, February 28th or March 1st, what does your life look like, right? In my case, I might say something like, wow, Nick, I'm so proud of you. Looking back at the month of February, I can't believe that you went out and you did what you said you were going to do. You bought an RV for Life on Fire. You've already gotten the thing wrapped up, with the Life on Fire branding, and you've got a couple events that you started to plan. I'm so excited what happened with Life on Fire TV and what happened with the Pay It Forward Friday. You went from getting 20 likes to 50 likes to hundreds of likes or shares on your blog every single time that you posted it. Most importantly, I can't believe the brush fire of just activity that was created with all the other fire starters like Libby Webb, and seeing them out sharing their message and living their dreams is leads me to feel so amazing right now, and I'm just so proud of what I've accomplished and this and that. So by writing it in that way and having the specific things that I set as my goals, it's it it it's like you're explaining it like you already have it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do that and you visualize it, that's why professional athletes, they actually work with visualization coaches, and they visualize the game, they visualize winning, and they visualize already having it. So you do that. So you wake up, just to recap, 3 things you're grateful for, read your goals, and then you just simply read that letter to yourself, and you just do that every day. And the cool thing is that after you've done that, if you were to just put a little check mark on a whiteboard or on a piece of paper and just show yourself that you're doing it, because where all the power of this comes in is that if you do it consistently for 30 days, even if you screw up a day or 2, because it happens. It sounds so
Yeah.
simple
Yeah.
because it only takes literally about 2 minutes, but for some reason it just life tries to prevent you from doing this for whatever reason. It's like resistance.
Mm-hmm.
But if you just document that you've done it, right, and then you come back and then you look at this thing on March 1st and you're like, I did it for 30 days, right? You've proven to yourself that you can create a habit, you can create a complete change in your business, and not only are you going to get the goals that you set out to get, but you're actually proving to yourself that you can literally do anything you put your mind to. That's the muscle I talked about in the very beginning. If you can flex the muscle of the holy crap, I can do anything that I believe, and you can get good at that, then you're going to be a person like Libby Webb that says, you know what, I'm going to just go into buying a barbecue restaurant with no experience at all, and I'm just going to follow my heart and passion and just do it, right? Libby, has conquered that. And now for her to say, you know what, I'm ready for my next challenge. I've got greater gifts to share with this world than just giving out and making people happy with the best damn barbecue in the area. And now she's got a bigger message and wants to help more people. And, you look at all the people around us, Libby, in our community, you've jumped in and learned how to do Hangouts. You've jumped in and learned how to use the technology. You're going out and getting people, and you're just doing it. And that's because Libby has been working out that muscle. She knows that she can do what she puts her mind to. And is there any doubt in your mind that you're going to be successful or super, super successful in this business?
No, I mean, I can't say I don't have doubts along the way, but no, I'm not. I'm trying to keep those in the back and just know that because there is a greater good, I guess got to keep moving forward. So yeah,
that's it, right?
Yeah.
And so that morning routine, and you follow that up with, for me, it's making a smoothie or a shake, something that's healthy. Then when you make that healthy choice in the morning, typically you're going to resist like eating something crappy later during the day. So it's like when you start the day right and you start it with that mentality, it just leads to a great rest of your day, and that leads to just how the people around you interact with you. Because when you show up cranky, you know what? They're the ones that are going to be cranky back to you, right? So it's all, you are a mirror, right? When people show up in your life in a certain way, and you start to think that everyone around me is just an a-hole or this or that, it's actually a mirror of what's going on in your life and really in your head. So when you start to fix that self-talk, use the moment on fire, roll that into the internal communication, roll that into that morning routine. 3 things you're grateful for, read your goals out loud, and put a little check mark. Then you're going to realize and you're going to find that you've got more love for yourself showing up. You've got things and people that are coming into your life. You'll be walking around town, and people will be looking at you differently. I guarantee it. It is so scary that I'll go out and pick something up from the store, and it's like people will be smiling at me now, or people will like say nice things, or like, hey, I like your shirt, or weird, right? It never used to happen because I was walking around with probably a freaking puss on my face because of what was going on, so it's
you're letting all
really
that
cool
brain
stuff.
clutter affect your whole demeanor. Yeah, it does.
Totally.
Yeah.
So I hope you guys enjoyed that, and I just want to again challenge you that if you take and implement this and come back and let us know what happened. Let Libby know, come back, interact with us. We've got a great community of people that are doing this stuff, and we're all proving it. It's not just Nick out there with these goals and stuff. We've got a whole army of people that are doing it, and it's working like crazy, and good things are showing up. So I'm grateful for you too.
Yeah, absolutely. And Nick, thank you so much for coming on today. And guys, I just want to say from my standpoint as a coaching client to Nick, not just that I'm a client, but I'm a friend. I mean, he and I have been friends now about 3 years online, and I finally got to meet him a few years ago. It was crazy. I guess we've known each other maybe 4 years online.
Yeah.
I'm losing track. But the fact that you're doing what you say you're doing, you're not just talking it, you're actually walking it, and it really matters. And the fact that, putting your goals out there, and I'm remiss in sharing mine, so I'm going to actually do that, guys. I'm going to share my goals on my fan page out. And if you guys would share yours, what 3 things can you accomplish by the end of January? I know it's only a few days away, but just think of 3 small things that you can do. We want to challenge you to actually find something so you can start working that action muscle where you're taking action every day to move yourself forward in your life and your business, because in the end, you're going to be happier, your family's going to be happier, you're going to be happier in your work, and finding that thing that you're really passionate about. We're all here to do that and give back to the world and leave it better than we found it. So that's really what's important, I think, in the end, isn't it, Nick?
That's it. So, go towards and live your life on fire, because why the heck not? Life's too short not to. So, why not have ridiculous amounts of fun and make more money than you think you should now, right? So, well, thank you guys, and thank you, Libby, for having me on, and you guys have a great rest of your day.
All right, Nick, thank you so much. And guys, you'll see there's a green button just right above the comment section below the video that says Life on Fire with Nick. If you want to check Nick out online and see what he's all about, just click that green button. That'll take you right over to his website.
Definitely, right. And definitely feel free to interact and comment. We've got a great community, and you guys have an awesome day. Well, thanks, Libby.
All right. Thank you, Nick. Have a great day, guys.
You too.
Bye.